Hey, Robin, how you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad. I appreciate taking a few minutes out to talk the film. Congratulations. I thoroughly enjoyed the film, and I had a chance to talk to Annabelle for Horror Hound about it.
Uh,
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Cool.
So it's very cool. I
Was
always
she
enjoy.
nice? She probably was nice.
Yeah, she was nice. She talked well about everyone. Had a great time with the production. So you can't, it's a trifecta of wonderful. So first of all, can you talk to me about how important the sound design and the score was for the silencing?
Yeah, very much so. They did a wonderful job, the composers, and they just, they really elevated the movie because it's something that it was difficult because we had temp score on the movie, and it was like, it was working, but it wasn't there yet. And then with these guys, what they did was just fantastic, and yeah, they just really elevated. They created, like this opening theme for the movie that comes back into the movie, which
Right.
works really well, and it's very menacing. And yeah, I really enjoyed working with those guys. So that was great, and also the guys who did the sound design. Just everything like the noises and all that stuff. Just yeah, great. I get a lot of compliments of the sound design, but I have to give credit due where credit's due. Those guys did a great job.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. And it's one of the things I always focus on when it comes to a film, especially since horror is so fluid. And this is a crime
Yeah,
thriller primarily, but there is horror elements to it. And, for
yeah.
next, I'd like to ask you about the environment around the film, the locations, the aspect of the winter weather and the darkness. They play such a crucial role in setting a mood and building a tension. Can you talk about the location and the weather elements and how crucial they were to making the story what it was?
Yeah, it was. Like I said, I'd never been to Canada. Instead, yeah, only the film festival of Toronto. So when I
Okay.
was walking around and I was driving around in Ontario, there was a couple of places they showed me, and then Sudbury, where we shot the movie, like really stands out. Just like it's a pretty bleak place. Just wonderful people, but it's like an old mining town
Right.
with all these mines and industry right in the city center, which just gave it a really cool vibe. And then you have all the forests and the wilderness around it, which was just perfect for the movie. And yeah, I tend to make very bleak movies for some reason, and it was just yeah.
Nice. Well, the weather plays
Yeah,
such
and
a crucial role in it, but you also have a central location with the factory where we get kind of an
yeah,
inside to what the town has become. Having a location like that, almost as a character, an antagonist of sorts, how much does that give you? How much room does that give you to develop the story even more and the lore and the reality of where this town has come to over the decades?
yeah. It was very interesting, but because there were so many mines in the in the town, but they were very difficult to shoot because of safety hazards and all
Right.
that, we were very lucky to find the what's the word again? It's like they melt iron or something like that at that place,
Absolutely.
and they
Yeah, I
were
know what you're
very
talking about.
cool. And then when I saw the location, I immediately fell in love with it. It's just a really cool place. And then yeah, I had to convince everybody that it was safe to shoot because it's just we had to wear a little. Some people were a little bit worried, and rightly so. But it was just I knew it. When you fall in love with a location, you don't want to hear anything. Just I want to shoot there. I want to shoot there. And you just like you won't hear no for an answer. Like so it was yeah. It was it was great. It's just that's one of the great parts about making a movie. You have the script, but then when the puzzle starts fitting because you see all the locations, and then yeah, the movie really starts to visualize inside your head, because of the location.
It sounds to me like you really fell in love all the way back in script stage throughout this process with the silencing. What was the one aspect for you that made you feel that this had to be the next feature project for you?
I've been reading a lot of scripts over the years, and it was always a lot of these scripts are generally good guy versus bad guy, and this
Right.
was very morally ambiguous. You had like the anti-hero, and even the character of the sheriff was very, she means well, but she does a lot of questionable things in the movie, and that's something that I always, gravitate towards. So the movies that I like the most are not necessarily about likable characters, but you do have empathy for them. So That's what I really liked. And also, it's kind of a page turner as well in the movie. You'll see, you want to find out how, who's the killer and all that stuff, which I always like in movies.
One of the things I asked Annabelle was the aspect of an influence, whether it was what you decide to do with the visual design of the film or what Micah decided to do in the writing stage. But Alice in Wonderland seemed to dawn on me as I watched the film a few times. Was there any influence from Alice in Wonderland with that dream state, especially with the neon colors and the way the world is constructed? It just feels like it. Is there any influence from it?
Honestly, I've not. I wouldn't say so. I love Alice in Wonderland, but it was more like it's more like that. I think with the colors, I always make dark and bleak movies.
Right.
I don't like it when a movie's just gray, when the image is gray. So I always try to work with color. I love the contrast. Even Nikolai's jacket, I wanted his jacket to be orange, or the cop car.
Right.
Instead of white or gray, I wanted to be green, emerald green. So I really do. I just enjoy working with color in a dark world. It's something that I always try to do.
Now, one of the things that makes it true horror is the aspect of that weapon. Can you talk that spear throwing weapon and how, was that in script stage, or was that something that came along later on?
Yeah. No, I have to give credit to Micah, because the ghillie suit and the atlatl or the spear was always in the script. I had to Google it myself. The ghillie suit, I think I knew. Yeah. The ghillie suit I knew from playing Counter-Strike.
Okay. Yeah.
The atlatl, I had never heard about it, so I had to. I think Joe Rogan talked on his podcast about it, so that's how I kind of find out what it was and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's so cool.
I had to do research, and then I didn't know anything about the weapon, and then I ended up designing one myself. The one that the killer used.
Really?
Very tribal, and that's that was cool. So they created all these, this atlatl images for me, and then I had to pick one. It was cool.
Did you keep it?
But I would never throw one. I'm bad at darts.
You're like taking it up to the 10th degree with the aspect of the atlatl.
Yeah.
Did you keep the one you built?
No, I don't know. I don't think they would let me take it on the plane home.
Oh my God, that'd be crazy. Oh my God, that's so great. Now, having that weapon on set, I mean, what kind of attention does that build? Because the scene where Alice investigates and talks to one of the makers in town of it, it's a very tense scene, because at first, it's almost a joke where, he can't throw it, and then he does. And between the sound design and the framing and just the way, the brutality of the weapon and the precision, it's scary. So can you talk about, having that weapon on set and what kind of tension it brewed?
Yeah, it's just we were very, very, very lucky that in the whole of Ontario was an atlatl expert who was on set and who showed us how to use it and all that stuff, which was great, because if it was up to me, it's like nobody had even heard of the weapon, so even the guys from the stunt team, they had to do their research as well, but we were very lucky to have somebody on set who showed us how to use it and who guarded it and all that stuff. So that was great.
Wow, God. Now, part of that story having to do with the weapon and so much more, and this is something I also asked Annabelle because I found it very interesting with that line. This could be looked at either, Robin, as a story of revenge or redemption. It falls somewhere in the middle. It's that gray area. For you, being able to direct a narrative like this, what is it for you?
Both. I think he gets redemption because of revenge.
Okay.
I think that's the. I think, and then he has to come to terms with he's literally battling a demon in the forest, but he's also battling his own demons. So I think, that's important to the story. Yeah, but me and Nikolai talked a lot about it. And it's always, I think, it's definitely both.
Having characters like this also, and we'll talk about casting in just a second, but having characters like this, as you had brought up before, being in that gray area, how much more of a challenge is it to fully form these characters when they sit in that gray area?
Yeah, it's subtle changes sometimes on the set. maybe say it like this, or maybe say it more in a stoic way, little things like that. But it would be much more difficult for me to direct somebody who generally just has to be a good guy, you know, because that's something that I don't feel a connection with, you know. So for me, it's easy, you know. It feels like my second nature. Yeah.
Okay, so then let me ask you this: you know, with Nikolai and Caleb and Josh and Annabelle, it's such a talented cast that brings the silencing alive. Can you talk about what the cast brought to these characters that wasn't on the page? Was there anything particular that you were like, wow, you know, they're adding that next element to it that I didn't expect?
Nikolai, he's also very funny, you know. He has a
Okay.
sense of comedy, and his comedic timing is great. So, like, he makes Rayburn very charming as well, you know, which is it's important because he's always grumpy, you know, but he brings a lot of comedy to the table, which is fun for the character and for the audience. So that was really great. And Annabelle is always grateful, you know. It's great for this character, you know, because he does so much stuff in the film that you're thinking, how is this gonna? Are the audiences are still gonna like her, you know? Because you don't want your audience to lose connection with the character,
right?
Because you still want some kind of emotional involvement for the audience, and that's something that she does very well. Same with Hero, who I think gives a wonderful performance as Brooks, you know, great. So yeah, that's the thing. If you're working in the U.S., I mean, that's one of the big things why a lot of European directors go to the U.S. You know, because they get to work in the big leagues with the actors. You know, they're all great. You know, just in Europe, you have 5 great actors, and then you have and then under that you have a couple of great actors. I mean,
right.
Here it's just you get to pick from the best
Wow.
which is great. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I love Zane. I think Zane, what he's able to do, what he's able to bring to his character as the sheriff, I think is tremendous. And I had brought him up to Annabelle also. What was it like to have him on set and have kind of an authenticity, it felt like, with that particular character and what we see with everything unfolding?
Yeah, amazing. You know, I love Game of Thrones, but I think if I'm really honest, I love Fargo even more, where he plays Hansi. You know, it's just yeah. I just love him, you know, and he's such a nice, down to earth, cool guy.
Yeah.
With an incredible real life backstory as well, and like he's always relaxed, you know. I'm always jittery and nervous, you know, and he's just a relaxed dude. And he took the time to watch my film, my first one, and so he was really involved with the project, and yeah, it was great, you know. Great guy, great guy.
The film has a great amount of physicality, having to do with the environment, having to do with several of the conflicts, having to do with the horror. You know, being such a physical film, how did you address the physicality and making it feel and impact as much as it did on the narrative as a whole?
That was very important to the story, you know. Just it's also like you have this big contrast between nature and like the industry of the city.
Right.
And also the characters, you know, you want to put them visually, you want to make them look small into the wild, you know, all that stuff. And then, yeah, but like I said, I have to give credit to those actors as well, and the people from the stunt team who give all their best, you know. Like we had this, I think, a really great scene in the cabin at some point with Rayburn and our villain.
Right.
And that scene, I love that scene, the way that was set up, and I was able to say, at some point, Rayburn takes the antlers off his wall, and that was just an idea that I had. You know, it's like, oh wait, let's put antlers here and let him take him off the wall, and everybody was very much, all right, cool idea, and then let's work around it. So it's great, you know, to have that kind of process where you're just spitballing ideas, and all these people around you are just making those ideas come to life. You know, it's just great.
It sounds like a lot of freedom on set, and it shows when it comes to the aspect of the silencing. Robin, congratulations, man. I appreciate a few minutes.
Thank you.